guys, thanks for tuning in. This is optibotimus coming with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 365 of the Black Widow from Captain America Civil War. For the package, you got a really cool image of Black Widow here in the front. Then on the back of the package, you got the various warnings and contact information for Hot Toys. Then when you slide up the slip sleeve cover, on the back you have the cast and crew responsible with a really cool image of Captain America's shield shattered in the background. Then when you come to the front of that inner package, you have an open window that fully showcases the figure as well as all of her accessories. But for the packaging on her, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get her out here and see how cool she actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the Black Widow from Captain America Civil War opened up and out of her packaging. And much like what Hot Toys does throughout their history, they take figures that have come out before and basically with each new release refine the process, giving us a more current sort of look for the various characters. They've done it with Captain America or Steve Rogers, Thor, Iron Man, and they're doing it here as well with Black Widow. What that basically means is that they've updated the suit, given us a more Civil War representation of how she looks, and they also tweaked her portrait a little bit, giving us a little bit more of an accurate representation of Scarlett Johansson. And honestly, I have to say that this is, and I say this a lot with each new release, but this is the best looking representation of Scarlett Johansson as the Black Widow that we've gotten to date. Now coming in to take a look at her accessories first. In addition to the two relaxed fans that are currently on her, she comes with a both right and left gripping hand which work very nicely for her batons. As you can see, they are a little bit smaller, obviously, in scale with her frame. And then you do get a right and left trigger hand with the index finger kind of in a forward-facing pose, allowing you to put this in the trigger area of her gun. And then you also do get a right and left fisted hand. Real nice detail all the way throughout on here. While it is just a molded black plastic, you can see some nice line detail on there. And it is in line with the new look of her actual suit, which as you can see here is a very basic black look. Now in addition to those hands, you also do get two additional wrist pegs. Again, they are the smaller scale ones, kind of fitting with the overall frame of the figure. And then in addition to two, I guess, unactivated Widow Bite bracelets, she does come with two ones that are activated. You can see you have a little bit of blue paint and blue detail kind of put on there, whereas the regular standard ones don't have any of that extra, that blue lighting. I shouldn't say really lighting, it's just blue paint, but denotes that they're lit up. So you do have those pieces. You also do get her electronic batons, I guess. These are the ones that we've seen previously with kind of like electric effects. Unfortunately, she doesn't come with any, but these are actually really nice looking. They are a little bit different than what previous versions had, in that this clear lucent piece is actually a little bit more smoky than what we got previously. The previous ones actually having a little bit of blue put in those. In general, the overall kind of color scheme of this Black Widow is a little bit more muted with the colors, and these little batons definitely represent that as well. She also does come with two handguns. She's gone back to having two. The previous version only came with one. They're a little bit smaller if I remember right. You do have the top cocking mechanism right here. You can also remove the clip. You got the little painted bullet right on the inside there, but that's a design that they have kind of gone back to in terms of giving her, you know, two guns and two holsters. And then as you can see, these come around here very nicely and just fit right in there just like that on that side and on that side as well. In addition to that, she does come with two collapsed batons, and she also comes with two extended batons. We saw her using these. I don't remember her using these a lot in Civil War, to be totally honest. I do remember seeing these more, specifically in the airport scene. But one thing that's funny is, like, looking at this, so this is a collapsed version of the extended one, and it kind of looks like this is where it's meant to line up, kind of along this side. It's like, where does this piece come from on this? I mean, I can get this piece extending out, I get that, but where's that come from? I mean, that just appears out of nowhere. But you do have the retracted version, which you come around here to the back, and she actually has like a little clip system right here that you can take these and put that right in there. Do that on this side. I like kind of alternating these so that they're kind of staggered a little bit, but you can have those stored here on her actual belt here on her lower back section, which is pretty cool. Obviously, if you're going to have those there, though, these aren't going to be out for display, and then vice versa, but very standard baton looking things. In general, pretty decent. She also does come with her Captain America Civil War display. One thing that's nice is, depending on what side these characters were on, the actual base features like an image of either Captain America's shield or Tony Stark's arc reactor. You got the Civil War logo, you have the name plaque right down here with her little Black Widow emblem. I think that's really cool. I like that. Now, I didn't pick up the Civil War version of Captain America. That was the regular release. I picked up the battling version, and if you remember, that didn't come with one of these stands. It came with a kind of diorama stand. So this is my first look at one of these, and I actually like it. The size isn't all that bad. I still probably won't use this in my display just because it does take up a little bit more space, but it's definitely not as much as some of the other ones that we have gotten. And for her final accessory, she comes with a little miniature version of Ant-Man. It's a non-articulated little statue, and it's actually the second one that we've gotten. We are getting another one with the release of Hawkeye, but this is the biggest of the three. And the actual detail on this is really quite nice. Coming in to take a closer look, you can see basically all the nice paint detail on there, very nice sculpt work, a little bit of a reflective kind of paint there in his eye, which looks really nice when it catches the light. You can see he has that more Civil War kind of look, and he's in this crouching kind of pose. Overall, really great looking piece that nicely, honestly fits in with the rest of your larger scale figures, because this is supposed to be a tiny little dude, so it absolutely works. I think that this is really very cool, and I love having this a lot. Now, he also does come with not really much of a stand, more just a display kind of piece, but you can see, after I drop it, there's a little molded section for each of the points that actually come in contact with the ground. You don't necessarily need to do it. You can just leave it right there, and obviously it stands pretty well, but you can see his foot goes here, his hand goes here, his knee, and then the back of his foot. So if you wanted to have a little display stand for him, you could do that. The previous release, little miniature one, had him just standing there. I forgot which figure he came with, but that also came with the display stand, which actually did help him stand, but as you can see, you don't really need it here. But I mean, just having this there really does work very cool for a display. Now, coming in to take a closer look at Black Widow herself, as you can see, terrific likeness. This is the best representation, as I said, of Scarlett Johansson. There are minor tweaks to the actual portrait that really do look like her. I love it. I think that this is terrific. One thing that I do, I mean, her hair sort of style is a little bit more wavy than I would like. It's fairly accurate to how it looked in the film, but one thing that I'll say is that I think it's a little bit too long. I think that it could be cut down and kind of trimmed a little bit. It's not too bad, but when you get it long like that, it kind of gets it poofy, and you have a little bit hard time kind of styling it the way that you want, and as it is, it just looks like there's too much hair. It does come styled out of the package. They do say that you can style it a little bit more by kind of just wetting it down, getting some of those loose strands to kind of sit down closer to the head, and then it doesn't require any product. It's already put in there, but you may want to do some touch-ups on it. But coming down here to look at the rest of the actual suit, like I said, it's a little bit more muted in terms of colors. The previous one had a lot of blue kind of pinstripes going throughout here, and I'll bring that previous one in to do a comparison, but you can see mostly just black. Great detail though on it. The actual material of the suit though is not as kind of rubbery. It is in some areas, but then you can see that like the middle section here has a more cloth material, whereas the outer section has that rubbery material. I also like how the belt is shifted higher on one hip than the other. I think that looks cool. I love the actual Black Widow belt right there. A lot of the other ones were just a very matte paint. This one actually has a very nice reflective red paint on there, kind of giving it, that lit up sort of look, which I think looks great. Again, same material down here with the rest of the legs, where you got the fabric kind of on the inside, you got the more rubbery material on the outside. Knee pads, she also has the elbow pads up here. Here are her widow bite bracelets. I think that's what they actually call them, but you can see that there's no real color in those. That's just, straight black. Coming down here to the boots, again, real nice detail on here. The boots are all one piece, so it does kind of limit the articulation, but you can see that it can actually flex out, and it does actually hold in position fairly decently for some, wider poses. One thing that I will say is, though, because of the nature of the material on the suit, it does kind of limit some of the articulation a little bit more than what we got on previous versions of her, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's not overly bad. One other thing that I'm noticing is that because, again, of the material, the actual waist area, or waist area or torso looks like it kind of sticks out a little bit more, whereas the previous versions, it was a little bit more tapered in, but you can see that moving in and out as I kind of flex that. So it's not necessarily the body. I think the body is the same, but it's just the material is a little bit more rigid. So as it comes down from the arms, it kind of sticks out a little bit. And you can definitely see the movement as you push it in to actually contour it to the actual body. So that does take away from some of the overall proportions of the Black Widow figure, but in general, really very cool looking still. Now for articulation, because I do believe that the body is the same between this and the Age of Ultron version, all the points of articulation are going to be the same. So up here at the neck, you can see that she does have a ball joint, which allows you to look left and right, kind of looks up and down, side to side. And then the body is a little bit rubberized, so she does have a neck joint here as well. So you can get her looking really far down, which really does come in handy. You can also tilt it off to the side a little bit, tilt it off to the back, and then it can pivot a little bit towards the back as well. The shoulders are on the rotation joint. They got the little armpit joint as well, but because of the material, it is a little bit more rigid. So as you rotate it, you have to kind of rotate the arm around to the sleeve around to get the arm a little bit higher. One of the benefits of having that more rubberized suit is you get a lot less restriction in the articulation. But one thing that was always a concern is leaving the joint in a bent pose, such as this. It would possibly cause a crease in that, kind of rubberized material. So that's no longer really a concern here, but you do get a little bit more restriction in this. And that's a little bit unfortunate if you want to put her in some really crazy dynamic ninja poses. I don't, but some people might. She also does rotate at the upper part of the bicep area. The elbows have two joints, so you get a really far bend here at the actual elbow. The wrists here do rotate. They also have those little hinge points so you can move it forward and back. She does have a upper diaphragm joint. She has a lower waist joint. You can rotate her, but again, the torso here is a little bit more restricted because of the suit itself. The hips move forward and back, but again, restrictions because of the material that is now used. She rotates at the upper part of the thigh. She has two joints here at the knee, and then coming down to the ankle. Again, I do believe that there's a pin joint down there, so you can rotate that, but because the boot is all one kind of piece, you're a little bit more limited and that restricted in what kind of poses you can put her in. But you can see that you can actually, tilt those in to get a little bit more of a wider stance for her. So if you have previous versions of the Black Widow, you're going to be very familiar with the articulation in this one, as I said, because I think that the bodies are the exact same. You just have some more restrictions because of the actual material in the suit, and I'm popping things off. Now for a comparison, here she is next to the Age of Ultron version. Now, like I was talking about before, this was her previous electronic baton, and you can see you had the blue color in here, whereas this has that smoky color. I kind of like that look a little bit more. Also, she comes with these little electric effects, which I mean, you kind of just put them on there. I kind of like doing that. Gives it a kind of cool sort of look. But you can also see those blue piping that I was kind of talking about throughout the entire figure itself. You got it in the arms, you got it in the legs, in the knee pads. You got some silver and everything down in the actual boots. Obviously, the hairstyle is different, but also the face sculpt is much different as well. This one looks great, don't get me wrong, but again, Hot Toys is able to go back, revisit them, and give us a more accurate representation. So coming in to take a closer look at that, ignoring the hair as it is, which this one definitely looks a lot more frizzy than I remember it being, you can definitely see the improvement to the overall portrait. I also really like the intense look on her eyes, whereas this is more looking forward. This is kind of like she's looking at you through the top part of her eyes. I love that intense look. But again, the suit-wise, you can see very similar, but definitely has some changes kind of going throughout it. And also, this has a lot more of that rubbery material, whereas it looks like it's, a cloth material. The middle section is more of that rubberized material, whereas this one is definitely more cloth-based. And then for her height, as you can see, as a 1/6 scale figure, she's a little bit smaller than some of the standard figures, coming in a little bit over 11 inches tall. Now, while undoubtedly this is the best version of Black Widow that we've ever gotten, it probably isn't my favorite. The improvements in this are great, especially in the actual portrait. And Hot Toys does a terrific job of replicating the way that the outfit looked in the actual Civil War movie itself. But I think if you're only going to get one Black Widow figure, my money would be on the Age of Ultron version. The face sculpt though on here really is better than anything that we've gotten before. The inclusion of the little Ant-Man is great. The accessories are about on par as what you've gotten previously. I just think where this figure takes a step back is the material in the outfit. I could get used to the look of it, but the material on it just is a little bit more limiting. I still absolutely recommend it, and if you missed out on the Age of Ultron version, this is a great one to have. Or also, if you're like me and you like having the most updated version of the character, this is obviously a must-have. It just depends on really how your collection is set up. So all that being said, if this is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, she is available right now at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Sideshow where you can check out availability on her, as well as the rest of the Hot Toys 1/6 scale figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please like and share it. It goes a long way towards helping me out. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you never miss out on a future review of mine. Or if you're already subscribed, be sure to click on the bell on my homepage and make sure that your settings are set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, be excellent to each other.